This is Dr. Wayne Haid on the 7th of February 2026. And as promised, I am going to talk about body cameras, also called body-worn cameras. I'm sure some of you would have heard comments made by the Commissioner of Police, Alistair Guevara, in which he was rebutting and refuting information put into the public domain by former Commissioner Gary Griffith, who was criticizing the present commissioner as well as past commissioners and the TTPS with respect to the body cameras. And to paraphrase Mr. Guevara, a lot of the information given by Mr. Griffith was either false or misleading. And he explained some of the issues that the police service had to deal with respect to the procurement of those cameras, in that the cameras were procured not by the accounting officer, or the contract wasn't signed by the accounting officer, but by a staff member in the IT section, which should not be happening. But it is good that it happened that way, because since Mr. Griffith likes to take credit for the body cameras and for anything that happened during his time, even if he was not directly involved, then he has to take responsibility and accountability for the failures and the issues related to both the contract and the operations of the body cameras. But Mr. Guevara, being who he is, there were things that he wouldn't say, didn't say, and couldn't say. But I, Wayne Haid, will say. So let me start talking about what the problems were with the body cameras bought by Mr. Griffith and the subsequent issues related to body cameras in general. In 2021, under Mr. Griffith's tenure, 250 body cameras were bought from a local company based in Sinclair. Now, the body cameras had two big problems. One, the cameras didn't last longer than 2 or 2.5 hours at a time, which meant that the battery would run down and they would have to recharge it. But officers would be on patrol maybe 3-4 hours. So therefore, the body cameras would stop while they were still outside. And added to that, they did not purchase enough docking stations and had it spread around the country where the cameras were being used to allow the cameras to be easily recharged consistently. Some could be recharged, but they didn't have enough everywhere for that purpose. But the bigger problem was that the cameras had no central management control system, which meant that any police officer could go into the body camera themselves and alter, delete, or otherwise interfere with the information and data contained in the body camera. That made it impractical and useless for the purpose for which it's intended, to provide some record and continuous record and the ability of the government or the society or investigations to audit and monitor police operations when they were out. So those cameras were not working for those reasons. So to make it easier, those cameras were moved to the police training college to allow them to be used for training purposes, because for operational purposes outside, they were not the proper fit. Then under his time, they purchased 750 cameras from a large security company in Trinidad Tobago, and I'm sure everybody would know the largest ones and where it's likely to have been bought from. But here the problem again. The central control management system remained with the company, not with the police. The police didn't have any way to monitor and control the information and data on their body cameras. And if they wanted something, they had to go back to the company and get the companies to do it for them, And the company in itself can, and if anyone wished to do, also interfere with the information. That was the reality that could have happened. But here this thing in the tail. Each camera, the cameras were bought for $1.8 million, which worked out to about $2,400 per camera. But that's not the real story. Behind that, there was a service agreement signed, again under Mr. Griffith time, again by the IT person, that had the TTPS paying quarterly. And so over the time of the 4-year contract, the police had to pay, or is due to pay, I don't think they paid all, over $29 million for the use of those cameras. So it was almost not even like it was a sale, like they didn't buy cameras. It's almost like if they leased cameras. And the cameras had the same docking problems issue. That is what caused the police to pull back and say, oh, we need to have something better. And that contract, when it ended, was not renewed by the commissioner and Gary Vex. So what did we do? To her credit, Commissioner of Police Erla Christopher purchased 180 cameras in 2023 at the cost of $1 million. Those cameras had a central management control system and was better for the use for which they were intended. But it was a pilot project with the intention being, once they are satisfied with the cameras, they would then purchase 3,000 cameras. That pilot project is still going on. But the government, it is my understanding, has determined that the cost of those 3,000 cameras, which is around $25 million, was too much at this time and has taken steps not to continue with the contract. Look at the difference in price between 3,750 and 250, and ask yourself, what is happening? And why did that happen? And why is it that Gary Griffith is not telling people what really happened? And why is it that the media folks who like to interview him as an expert on policing don't ask him these questions? Anytime I see them asking questions and getting quotes, the first question it comes to my mind, did you get any gun from Gary? And if you did, how much? That's come to my mind automatically. But there's a bigger thing going on behind too, because they also purchased 85 dash cameras for police vehicles. And those vehicles, some of them are off the road, through accidents and service and so on. But the police still have to pay another service agreement for millions of dollars for those dash cameras. And that money, ostensibly, is supposed to go to TSTV, but there's another company involved that I understand has someone well known to Gary Griffith in that company or running it. Those are the issues that the commissioner will tell you behind all of this. So next time we're talking about body cameras, let's know that you only get half the story from Gigi, the 1% borrows. Let him answer these questions and ask him if anything that I said here is misleading, false, or untrue, and if he can give the correct information to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago rather than going on the media and keep lambasting the officers in the TTPS. This is part 2. Let me see what will happen now. Good day, folks.